Okay, we are back again. So pause. Trade route has been completed, so we need to do some more trade routes. Although we can't trade with the Crown right now because they're kind of pissed off with us. Actually, technically we can. It's not stopping me. So we're going to start... oh no, you don't want to pay me extra for that. Alright, so the Crown exports don't actually give me anything. And the smugglers don't give me anything. So one of the things that they did, which was really cool in Tropico 5, is you could sell to the smugglers. You'd usually get a fairly good return, and it would piss the Crown right off. I'm kind of disappointed that's not an option here. I really hope that's something they add. And there are no other crowns to trade with, it's just the Crown. Which is why the smugglers being a potential trade route was kind of important. Once the World War era comes about, then the number of factions increases, so you do have more trade people to... you have more options for possible trade. I just realised my positioning of the fort here is actually going to block that area off. So I'm going to have to get a road coming through here. Do that before I forget. Yeah, in the next era it's going to be the Allies and the Axis. Okay, I've just noticed that the mandate is actually frozen since we declared war.
If I may have your attention, President.
So you want me to get a circus? Yes, but not immediately. Meanwhile, the money is definitely going up. Increase your pay. You should be better at fighting. Okay. Hey, Moose. I do indeed have Tropico 6, yes. Right, so we've just done another rescue. We've actually got a population of 300. That's kind of insane. Now we have 4 people unemployed, and we still have 20 homeless families, but actually 37 vacant houses. So that seems like a whole lot of their problem. Happiness is super low, but that's because I have a shortage of entertainment buildings, I think. Yeah, you tend to be relatively full. Most of the entertainment becomes available next era. I was kind of hoping I could... Oh, I can! I could stick the circus right here. Right in the way of the road, though. If I could put you back one, that would be nice. Can't squeeze you in there. Can't get you there quite. The only place is here, and I really don't like that spot. Or up here, but that's friggin' miles away. You do want to have it fairly close to your residential centre. Alright, put it there. And you have no more resources, so we're just going to go ahead and deplete you, and then we'll be relying on this lumber camp to keep us supplied. I am, however, going to say take and give, so you plant your own trees. I might set up another lumber camp there, because lumber camp's not hugely space intensive. Although you've destroyed most of the wood supplies there. Putting wood up here would also be a good choice. At least until we get our industry up and running. That's something we could probably arrange. Let's do this. And this. Up there. Just get you built. Alright, 100 days until independence. El Presidente Viking suits me. Yes, I quite like that.
Complete. Once again, the breadth of El Presidente's awesome political vision is shown.
Check the beauty value when placing entertainment buildings because this increases their service quality. You can also improve beauty levels by decorating. Oh, I did not know that. What does it say? Beauty levels. It doesn't. Maybe not for you, for the circus? It doesn't actually say the beauty level anywhere. That seems to be a bit of an oversight. Although I suspect that's more important for the touristy buildings. And yes, we can click on the circus and choose what we want it to do. So, clowns and popcorn, beasts and bloods, visitor slots decreased by 1 per employed worker, the fee is increased by 2. Or wizards and magic, visitor slots increased by 1 per employed worker, but it decreases the service quality. I think I'm going to do wizards and magic. Let's fill this place up, because it's... Well, okay, bloody hell, people wanted entertainment. Are you not entertained? Crikey. Like the entire settlement's just going, entertainment, that's not beer, let's go! Yeah, beauty is the map mode it goes into. In fact, does that not happen for farming as well? Yeah, it should... Okay, it would be really nice if it showed a general efficiency overview, rather than just relying on the terrain. Should give them mead instead. That would be smart, yes. So many people coming in. Look inside. No. Oh, yes. Yes, we can. Totally a glitch. There's such potential for sticking stuff inside of buildings. Easter eggs. I noticed that first going into the palace, because you can actually like see the walls and stuff. Totally glitching. This is not intended. But it looks kind of cool. Happiness is down to 11%. Oh man. The election's definitely banned. Oh, and the war's begun! Crap, sorry. So our guards on the wall here are indeed shooting down at them. These guys seem to be out of range, so we're going to say make a sortie. They should go rushing out and go and fight these guys. This is where I'm a little bit disappointed, because combat is super simplistic. But we are fighting.
Well, I suppose you did rather well. For a bunch of savages.
That's the extent of combat, unfortunately. We're not allowed to call this independence, though. The Foreign Office is going to announce a new member of the Crown's glorious Commonwealth. Our friends in the Republic of Tropico will join our ever-growing family of historically connected trading partners. Then I'm on to my next post as Special Envoy to the Archduke of Austro-Hungary. Sounds safe enough.
My heart swells with joy as I greet my fearless leader for the first time as El Presidente.
But it is a hazardous period for our fledgling nation to take flight from the colonial nest. It is a time of wars and sequels to wars, a time to fortify, to think about electrification and industry, to train doctors to fix the health problems caused by that industry. There is much to be done. Okay. Right, so now that we've reached the World War era, we can create our constitution, so we can have all citizens vote. The electorate shall consist of all citizens who have reached their majority, shall vote by ballot in order to determine whose buttock shall occupy the seat of power, and upon whom the nation of Tropico shall depend for his leadership and executive discretion. Only citizens that have economic wealth of well-off or higher are allowed to vote. Broke and poor citizens' chance to turn rebel is increased by 10. The electorate shall consist of all citizens who have demonstrably proven their merit by virtue of their substantial contributions to both the provision of employment and tax revenue of the nation of Tropico, and thus earned the right to vote by ballot to determine the position of president. Open ballot elections, employees of government buildings vote for El Presidente regardless of their approval. Those with an approval below 46% might turn rebel, with a chance of this increased by 10. These ballots cast to determine the position of president, being of such importance to the sovereignty of the nation of Tropico, shall be made a matter of public record, and thus available for the scrutiny of all citizens, rather than being accessible solely to ballot officers. So this is basically only those who work for me, directly for me, i.e. those I pay a lot, because I'm already paying my guards a lot, can vote. And their public record is open. So we can kill those who might not be voting for us. Only the wealthy, so that's basically the capitalists. So we need to keep the capitalists happy to stay in power for that. Which is why there are so many edicts which modify capitalist happiness and decrease other people's. Or everyone votes, and then it's just an average of everyone. I feel like combat needs to be complex, maybe it's just me. It needs to be more complex, definitely. Like, I was kind of a little bit disappointed when I saw it first, and this was even more underwhelming. I was hoping at least like the fort cannons would shoot or something if you had the fort garrisoned, but no, they're just standing in the corner shooting at it. Beta. Remember, it's beta, so I hope that's something they do take another look at. Because it was a lot better in Tropico 5, you could actually move your squads around and retreat and stuff like that. Of course, my troops never had to retreat, but it was an option. And you could see the quality of the training of your troops. You could affect their armaments and stuff like that. There was just a lot more to it. So, what do you guys think? In fact, let's make this an actual election. Let's do a straw poll, because I've not done one of those for a while, and I feel like this is good. So, election. Oh, voting rights. This was called voting rights. All citizens vote. Government of the people, by the people. Wealthy citizen vote. Money talks. And then open ballot elections. Only those we trust / control can vote. Great poll. Alright, let's go and stick that up in chat. So head on over there, let me know your thoughts, and we shall decide what they can choose. What voting law are we going to go for? Wow, this is actually a lot more even than I was expecting. That's very interesting. So make sure get your votes in. I'm only going to keep this up for a minute or so, I think. This is going completely the opposite way to what I expected. Crikey. I'm actually impressed. Well done, chat. Well done. I was fully expecting this to be overwhelmingly open ballot elections, but actually only 11% of you have voted for open elections. 56% of you, so we do have a majority, is for all citizens vote. Alright, let's make this a legit democracy. Armed forces. Pacifist state disables all military buildings, decreases the rebel threat build-up by 75%, and increases the standing with all superpowers by 5. The nation of Tropico, being committed to the peaceful conduct of all nations, hereby renounces any and all title to declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, and to raise and support armies, navies, and armed forces of any other kind. The militia. Soldiers require no education. In case of military conflict, each barracks will provide one militia squad. It is the sovereign duty of the nation to provide for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the nation, suppress insurrections, and repel invasions. And this being so, no soldier shall be prevented from serving Tropico through lack of possession of any specific certificate of education. Or we can have professional soldiers. Soldiers are required to have at least high school education. Damage of squads is increased by 25%. Militarist standing is increased by 20%. The defence of the nation being of the highest importance and significance, all citizens accepted to serve in the army, navy or armed forces of any other kind shall be required to demonstrate the mental capacities benefiting the expectation of being tasked with wielding a firearm. So again, let's put this up to the vote and see how you guys lean on that one. So straw poll. This is armed forces. I think there's only 2 sections of the Constitution we need to worry about here. Pacifist state. And then we have the militia. And then we have the professional Soldiers. Solidars. I can't spell. Soldiers. There we are. Okay, let's go and create that poll. And let me know what you think. Head on over to the poll. Don't just say it in chat because that's not going to count. It has to be in the polls. So go check out the poll. I just posted it. And let me know what you think. I may have slightly caused a bit of a bias here. Oh, no. Okay. Some of the votes are swinging the other way, but crikey, this is really overwhelming. Yeah, I may have influenced this election very slightly. So the options were the pacifist state, also known as the anti-Vikings, which has received 0 points. Then we've got the militia, also known as America, which is 9% of the vote. Oh, no, 17% of the vote. And then we've got the professional soldiers, also known as the Prussia of Tropico, receiving a whopping 83% of the vote. So I'm pretty sure I know what you guys want. You clearly want the pacifist state. Okay, so we're going with professional soldiers, which means we're going to have to absolutely set up a high school soon. And then later on, we'll be able to change religion, state, labour policy, ecology, emigration, separation of powers, media independence, personal rights, healthcare, marriage rights, global market economy, etc. There is a lot more that we can work on in the future, but right now, that's it. Alright, let's say that you guys can actually sortie if you need to, in case we get rebel uprisings or anything.
The voice of Tropico says... Hola!
And with that, we now have access to the radio as well, which is cool. So, let's just put in a pause real quick, because I want to take a look at what is available. So at the forts, we can now modernise the weaponry, increases the fire rate by 100%, while in Man the Ramparts work mode decreases upkeep by $5, and the risk of catching fire is reduced. Arsenal increases efficiency of each military and defensive building within the army's military strength radius. Military strength radius. I'm gonna guess that's an overlay. Ah, so long as they're within this, then they get combat bonuses if we have that active. Interesting. So that's with the arsenal. Increases the efficiency of each military and defensive building within the military strength radius by 25%. The fort deploys militia squads when militia is set to the constitution. So we're not going to get militia squads, so we're not going to get additional soldiers, just the ones that we have already employed. And we are going to get modernised weapon. I think we're going to go ahead and do that both. Okay, so that's our military buffed up. We could get even... We've already got more guards, so we can't do that. So that's good. So we were completely overwhelming in terms of our military strength. We can now get a real big telescope for the Pirate Cove, which I'm going to do, and then also the plantations can improve. So we have selective breeding for the corn, improves efficiency every month up to a cap of 20%. Oh, damn, I should have seen that earlier. Green Waste Chopper decreases upkeep of nearby ranches and factory ranches by 3. Don't have any of those nearby. Canary decreases risk of the building catching fire. Increases efficiency by 10%, increases pollution. Teamsters. Oh yeah, Teamsters can upgrade. Crap, I wish I'd seen that earlier. Although I don't know if that just became available, it may well have. Construction officers, same thing, let's improve the number of people working. Rum distillery. We can get electric stills. Increases efficiency by 20%, building requires electricity. So electricity is one of the things that we can now build. You don't have any stock right now. Increases efficiency, requires power. Increases job quality with small parcel growth. Let's do that. And Green Waste Chopper again. Not necessary. Because there are no ranches nearby. Fire protection we can't do. Can't do. Library. Academic department. Increases efficiency by 25%. That seems reasonable. Nothing there. Buildings. Can become electrified. Irrelevant. Right now. Can't do anything with those. Can't do anything with you. Or with you. Or you. You can get the pollination parcel, which increases efficiency of nearby pineapples. Irrelevant. You could overfeed, which makes the place more efficient. You have nothing. You have nothing. You've already got the manure fertilizer. And nothing. Docks, nothing. Barracks we already did. Forts we've already looked at. Construction we've already looked at. Church. Nothing. Logging? You get a tree nursery. Reduces time for saplings to fully grow. Yes, we want that. Do we want that in both places? Probably not here. Here there are loads of trees. Over here we're going to need some time. Where did I get all the money? I just haven't built anything for a while. And we make a lot of cash right now. Okay, so we now have the Allies and the Axis, and we have to concern ourselves with playing them off against each other, first of all. And then also, whenever we do something for the Allies get the Axis get pissed off, etc. So we have exports we can do. We have bananas. Are there any which are 10% above standard? No. So meat is something we produce. Corn is something, in fact, we produce all of those. Same with these. These are only 5% above standard. The deviation may change depending on how positively they see us. There are no processed resources available. And we could sell nickel, but we don't produce any of that. No consumer goods to be sold, which is a bit unfortunate. So it's going to be mostly these again. And I think I'm going to go ahead and buy another trade license, maybe even 2. We'll get 2 more. So we're going to export corn and meat and pineapples and bananas and sugar and one more. Cotton. Produce cotton, right? Whoops. Do we not produce cotton? We don't produce cotton. Huh. In fact, it's established that that range is quite high. So we need to do some more cotton. Plantation. Cotton. Oh, I can see why we've not done any cotton. We could stick a plantation here, and actually there seems to be a fairly decent location for it. Because I really wasn't sure what else we would put over there. We could also stick it, like, here. Because there is something else we could stick on this side, and that's going to be all the factories and stuff. Cotton does well up here, too. This might actually be a better location for it. Oops. Yeah, there's a mine right there. I might set up a coal mine. Because we're going to need to get a power plant at some point. I'm just going to put my finger at the edge of the mining spot. Plantation, cotton. So we can stick you here. Without any problems. And that'll do. That's a really good point. Where is that whistle coming from? There are no trains. Oh, it's just the ships. Oh, and the ships' models have changed now as well. Yeah, in fact, when you zoom in on them, you hear it really loudly. Was this a randomly generated map? No, I don't think so. I don't think they do random generated. They just have like a massive number of maps that you can choose from. Why would the Allies need corn? That's 80% of what we grow in the US. Because the Allies are not just the US. Probably doomed world. And I know that Britain imported a lot of corn, especially from India. Do I have any gold? I do actually. We have gold up here. And that is definitely a direction that we want to expand into. So up here, we want to set up some kind of metal production, probably. Yes, we can do steel mills. We can even do weapons factories. Processes steel and nickel to produce weapons. So we need the steel mill, which is coal and iron. And then we can use the steel from that to produce weapons. And do we have any nickel mines? So, yes, we have one nickel site. Seriously, just one. Okay, so we have one place to get nickel from. So we really need to not build anything on this corner. Can I stick you right in that corner? No. Road is in like the worst. Oh no, we have one spot where we can put this. Okay. That's fine. Well, that's a rather important location, but we need to get this steel up and running first. Although we're actually a little bit short on cash now. The other thing which is really important that we've got access to are apartments. Good quality residential buildings for 12 households. Which are significantly larger than the bunkhouses. And also just significantly better housing. So we're going to go ahead and buy that blueprint. And then... how big are these compared to the bunkhouses? I'm wondering if we can just replace a bunch. Well, we could definitely replace these three with apartments. And these three. So I'm going to set that up. I'm going to do a bunch of demolitions here. It's going to make a lot of our people unemployed and rather unhappy for the time. But hopefully so soon after independence they're going to be riding on a wave of jubilation. So won't care. We can also get houses, which is better quality. So they're basically the upgrade of the country house. Bigger houses, I wonder. Not sure. And then we also have access to the botanical garden. And fun fairs. Piers, which is good, because that's going to be out at sea. And restaurants, which are a food system. I'm just going to double check I don't have access to grocers or anything. So that was a thing in Tropico 5, which I did not realise for a really long time, and certain people got slightly hungry. No, it looks like that doesn't exist. Okay, we're good. We have access to high schools, and now that our military requires a high school education, we're going to need these, and soon. So let's go ahead and plonk down a high school, like, right now. Even stick you here. No, this needs to be near the population centre again. You know what? Next to the circus. Let's put the high school there. And then the next thing we need to do is also start setting up another population centre over there. So pause and let money start flowing in again because we're kind of short. And Pirate Cove. Yes, you have some raids to do. So I would really like you to do some more stuff. So a couple more options have become available. We could also start a heist. I'm going to hold off on that because I know that the world wonders are really good for tourism and we have no tourism yet. So we're going to hold off on that, but what I really want are more educated people. I think I'm just going to fill you up with a bunch of educated requests. We will also be able to build the upgrade of the fort, which is the commando garrison.